There's 10, doesn't there? That's good. There she is.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You have been admitted.
I'll be good, I swear.
Good morning to everybody that's just joining us. We're just going to give it another minute or so just to let people come in, get settled, familiarise themselves if you're conversant already with Microsoft Teams. Some of us have become a dab hand at it in the last year or so. We've had no choice.
Changing times.
Yeah, yeah. I will go through some housekeeping in a few moments, but perhaps if people could turn off their cameras if they're not speaking and put themselves on to mute, that would be helpful just to kind of improve the quality of the reception, I think. Thank you. Oh, you're all a dab at hand at this. Okay, Gabby, do you think, oh, sorry, thank you, Brian. See somebody there with their hand up. I do apologise. Trishna.
Hi, I just wondered, do we need to have our videos on or do they need to be off?
Yeah, unless you're talking, if you could just leave them off for now and put yourself on mute, thank you.
Sorry, I meant the video, not the microphone.
Yeah, the camera, yeah, video. Yeah,
Thank you.
Turn that off as well. I think it does just help to improve the
Perfect.
yeah, thank you. That's lovely, and we will get started in just a moment. And Gabby's just put in my slides up there. Thank you. Okay, good morning and welcome everybody to the Joined Up Careers virtual recruitment morning, or it could be a day. I'm going to work through the programme with you all just in a few minutes, just to kind of explain a little bit more about the format of today. But thank you ever so much for joining us in this one-of-a-kind recruitment event where we've got two of our local employers, Derbyshire County Council and Derby City Council, joining us as the key employers for this event, who are both itching to get talking to you, to talk to you about the roles and the opportunities that they've got in both Derby City Council and Derbyshire County Council. So I am Susan Spray. I am the programme lead for Joined Up Careers. For those of you that aren't familiar with Joined Up Careers, we are a partnership of health and social care employers. So we support both the NHS organisations and both local authorities within the county to support them with their current and future workforce priorities and needs. In prime example of events such as this, to try and sort of help those organisations to fill some of their vacancies and support them with their workforce priorities. So I'm going to be sort of leading us through the sort of first 10 minutes or so of this morning's presentation, just to give you an outline of what we've got planned during the next hour. So really packed, exciting hour for you that's going to give you an insight into the rewarding careers that we have on offer. So we're going to hear from people such as Julie Knight, who is the head of the service within Derby City Council. We're going to hear from individuals that are already working in those type of roles. So you'll have the opportunity to hear firsthand about that experience and what it's like to be working in adult social care. So first of all, I'm just going to go through the housekeeping arrangement. So as I've already mentioned, appreciate it for people, if you've not already done so, if you can put yourself onto mute unless you're going to be speaking. We ask people to do this, as well as turning off their video and their camera, just to help us improve the quality of the network and the reception for people. The event is being recorded. You'll probably have a banner across your top screen advising you of that, so you can sort of dismiss that and move that off the screen to enlarge everything for you. If you do have a question, we're going to be monitoring the chat column, which for those of you that aren't familiar, if you go to the top of your screen and there's a little speech bubble, so if you were to click on that, you can see the chat that's progressing there. So I'm just going to show you. I've just said hi. So you can either raise your hand or you can just pop a little note into the chat to let us know that you've got a question and we'll come to you. Hi, Stephen. Just to I suppose, apologise in advance for on behalf of anybody that is doing the speaking sessions, that when you've got the slides up in front of you, you don't, and I suppose it's the same for everybody really, you don't always get to see you know, if somebody has put their hand up. So we've got a team for colleagues within Joined Up Careers that are going to be helping me and the other speakers alert us to anybody that has raised a question. So so we will get to you. Yeah, first of all, so just on to the next slide, please, Gabby. I just really wanted to take just a very few minutes just to talk to you about the Derbyshire system. And when I talk about the Derbyshire system, what I mean is the health and social care system. We believe that coming together as a group of employers and organisations, that we can work together to build our local workforce, to help one another to fill future vacancies. We're very sort of, I suppose, prime ourselves on supporting, strengthening our local communities. So we've got a really good presence within the Derbyshire and Derby City economic partnership. So, you know, we know very acutely that we have seen an impact in unemployment as a result of COVID-19. So we're going to be doing more of these type of events to support people that have found themselves either in a furlough situation or in a redundancy situation, or whether indeed the pandemic has actually has just given you a new sort of lease for working or wanting to work within the health and social care community. So hand in hand with our employers, we're going to be doing lots of these type of sessions to help support the local economy and to provide opportunities to individuals that are either not in work or individuals that are looking for additional hours to supplement employment that you're already in. We've had a prime example of doing this, coming together to recruit for our local organisations in Derby and Derbyshire. Some of you may be familiar with the Call to Arms campaign. That was a campaign that we launched back in November last year, and it was very much targeting individuals to come and support us with the COVID vaccination programme. We had a lot of individuals that applied to come and work for us, and over 800 individuals that were external, so 800 individuals that weren't currently known to the health and social care workforce applied for roles and have been appointed into varying different roles across the vaccination programme. Some of those individuals may well be on the call with us today, and we absolutely welcome you, whether you come via that means or otherwise. I suppose what we've learned as a group of employers is that, you know, we can tap into large groups of individuals to recruit in different ways. We've had to think differently about how we recruit, and through the power of the system that we've got and Microsoft Teams, and everybody having access to that media, we've been able to quickly appoint people into roles, and we've been able to do that very differently to how we perhaps used to, and we want to see more of that, and hence today's event. And we're going to be giving people the opportunity to stay on to the call, or rejoin later on, so that they can either have an interview for a role that that they are interested in, or they can have a one-to-one discussion if they're just interested in finding out a little bit more about the role and they don't necessarily feel comfortable in speaking out in a large forum. So I think, we've learned lots of lessons from the Call to Arms campaign, but most importantly, what we know is that we've got a process that works. We've got the individuals, we've got a great turnout today, we've got the vacancies, and I think between us all, we're really hopeful about being able to couple people up with people that have got the right values for the roles that we're currently recruiting. So just to sort of introduce my speakers today, you're going to be hearing directly from employers, and as I've mentioned before, you're going to be hearing from individuals that are currently working in adult social care. So a first-hand opportunity for you to hear about the rewarding career opportunities that we've got on offer. Flexible roles, full-time roles, part-time roles, short-term roles, permanent roles at opposite ends of the county. So I think between us, we should have something that appeals to our audience today. So I suppose what I ask of the participants of the next sort of hour is to sit back and listen to the speakers, enjoy the stories that they've got to tell you about the roles, and for you just to take a bit of time out to think about whether you consider that if you've got the right attitudes and behaviours that you think would meet our values for delivering person-centred care. So I think, on that note, I just want to sort of wrap up by saying that after the first hour of the session, when you've heard from all of the different speakers, there is going to be the opportunity for people to stay on, as I've mentioned, to have either an interview or an informal chat, or if you're not available this afternoon for an interview and you want to reschedule for that another time, what we're asking is for people to use the chat facility to pop in to that chat box your name, your email address and your preferred area of work. We're asking for your preferred area of work at this stage because that will help us to indicate as to whether we think a more of a Derbyshire county locality might be better for you, or an inner city, Derby City. So if you sort of say to us, I don't have access to transport and my preferred area of work is Buxton, that we know that we're going to pair you up with somebody from the Derbyshire County Council as opposed to the Derby City. And likewise, if you're working in a city, perhaps, or living rather in Normanton or in Sinfin, and your preference would be for a role that's based within the Derby City locality, similarly, we will match you up with that organisation. So it's really important that you put that information in. Or if you don't have a preference and that you have flexibility to work across all areas of Derbyshire, then please feel free to pop that into the chat as well. So that's all from me. Just one last thing is just to absolutely give special thanks to particularly our speakers that have given out their time out of their busy schedule to come and join us today. We wouldn't be able to put this event on if it wasn't for people like you that are working firsthand in those type of roles. It's really kind of important that people are able to hear about your journey. So thanks ever so much for joining us. I hope you have an interesting hour, and I hope that we will see some of you again, either at interviews or at one-to-one discussions. So thank you. I'm going to hand you over to Julie Knight. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I'm echoing a little bit. I don't know why.
You're not echoing for me, Julie. You're absolutely
Oh.
fine. So I don't know about everybody else. It might just be your end.
Oh, it's not usually a problem. Right, I've taken my headphones off. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Yeah. I can't see the presentation.
I think Gabby will just be popping that up for you now.
Right, well, that, just to say thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate the chance to come and talk to you. We are very, next slide please, if that's all right. So I'm just going to give you a very brief overview really of what Home First is and what we can offer you, in terms of sort of opportunity. And then I'm going to hand over to Emma and Lesley, who are going to give you the sort of much more interesting things about what the actual jobs are and what it feels like to work in Home First. So Home First is our Derby City Council sort of direct social care offer. We don't directly employ any long-term carers in Derby City. That is all provided by the independent sector. So Home First is a very sort of specialist service, and it's all about enabling people to return home from hospital or to remain at home. It's about maximising independence, and it's all about very short-term support. It is a very highly regarded service. It's really sort of almost like sort of broken new ground. So working in Home First means you do have opportunities to try new things, to be involved in new initiatives. So currently at the moment, for instance, we're just putting in place a new delirium pathway as part of our service. And part of the reason we do have the opportunities on offer today is that we are expanding the service to incorporate that. And we're also initiating a night service, so that this is a fully 24/7 service. The whole key to Home First really is that we believe that home is the best place for people to be. So within the Home First service, we do offer beds. We have something called Perth House, where we have assessment beds, and the carers the support workers who work in Home First actually work across both the beds and the community. We are very flexible. So it is an opportunity to learn a sort of a really wide range of care skills and different sort of settings. But I'd say it's all about home being the best place. And we do support in Home First people with a very, very sort of wide range of needs and very sort of high levels of needs. And because we have the expertise in the service, we are able to do that. The support worker roles obviously are about caring. We have to, the basic levels, the skill levels are, the essential CQC levels are all there. But we also do require additional skills of the staff, and we do have a lot of sort of training, particularly around things like, recognising signs of deterioration or managing delirium. And all of the work is very much integrated with our sort of community health and our NHS colleagues in the hospital. So it's very much an opportunity to work closely with NHS colleagues to see other roles in action. Within the Home First service, I have social workers, I have occupational therapists, they all work in the pathway. So it's all very much around sharing information, sharing learning, supporting. But what we need the support workers to do constantly is to assess what the care situation, to feed back on that. Everybody's views are recognised and they're important. This isn't around sort of being sent somewhere to just do a job. This is much more about being part of a team who are all together enabling people to live a good life. But there's two parts to Home First. One is what we call Pathway 1, and that is assessment and support. Just go back a little bit. I'm not quite finished that slide yet. Abby? That's it, thanks. So we have Pathway 1, which is assessment at home. So that is support in the community. So that the workers who work broadly in the community could be deployed anywhere within Derby City. The whole point of this service is very, very flexible. So we provide a 2-hour response to people who are leaving hospital. The average length of stay is around 9 days. I think what is important for you to understand if you're sort of interested in working in Home First is that we don't have that sort of long-term support. You have a big turnover of customers, and it is around sort of getting to know new people, seeing their needs, responding to those, and then moving on. And it's all about reducing dependence. And similarly, in our pathway 2, which is Perth House, the length of stay is around 14 days. So again, it's very, very fast turnover. So it's an exciting role. It's very, very different, but it isn't around, you know, long term getting to know people. It's around enabling people to have the best life and then moving on to support somebody else. So I'll move on now. I'll hand over. And so it's the next slide and hand over to Emma, who's going to tell you about the jobs.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Lovely. Okay, my name's Emma Quinn and I'm a staff manager at Home First. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about kind of what we're looking for and what we have, you know, in terms of what we can offer somebody that comes to work for us. So we're offering 2 main roles. So the first one is a daytime mobile support worker. You must be able to have your own transport, so a car or a motorbike, somewhere to get across the city. The hours are 25 hours a week, and that's working on a rolling 4 on, 4 off rota basis. So the morning shifts are 7:15 in the morning to 2:45 in the afternoon. And then in the afternoon, it's 2:30 till 10. And what you need to be able to do is work 1 in 3 late. So 2 weeks of earlies followed by 1 week of lates. The other role that we're looking for is night support workers, and you can be mobile or non-mobile for that. So you'd be out in the community or just based in Perth House. So we've got 2 contracts available for that position. The first one is 33 hours a week, so that's 10:45 at night till 7:30 in the morning, and that's on a 4 on, 4 off rolling rota basis. But equally, we've got one that's kind of half that, so 16.5 hours a week, and that's with 2 nights and 6 nights off. Just go to the next slide for me, please, Abby. As well as the permanent roles with set hours, we also offer 0-hour contracts as well. We've realised and recognised that actually people have other commitments to work with. They have families, other roles, other caring commitments. So we do have 0 contracts available for those that would prefer that. We do have overtime that is regularly available. It's not guaranteed, but it is something that we offer very regularly. We would provide you with a full induction and training. That's all your mandatory training, like assisting and moving, medication, safeguarding, and also specific training. And Julie mentioned this earlier, things like dementia and delirium, behaviour support training. There are so many opportunities when you come to Derby City Council and Home First. You'd start off, you do your care certificate. We have, MVQs and apprenticeships available, and we've got really good scope for career progression depending on kind of what level that you wanted to reach, and we would fully support you with that. And I say we offer that specialist training, for the specialist kind of customers that we look after. So the most important bit, the bit that's the most important to you. So you'd start off as a support worker, day or night, of £10.41 per hour, and that would rise up to £10.83. There's a 45p mileage allowance when you use your own car and your own transport. You'd be given, if you're a mobile support worker, you'd be given a work mobile phone. You have access to your emails and your rota. We give you your uniform and all the equipment that you need to do your job, and that's whether you're based in Perth House or whether you're in the community. So you've got things like your PPE, tabards, circuit breakers, alarms, things like that. Initially, when you begin working at Derby City Council, you receive 5 weeks paid holiday a year, and after 5 years service, that raises to 6 weeks. And Derby City Council has lots of employee benefits as well, things like purchasing a bicycle or leasing a car through your wages, money off vouchers for high street shops and online retailers, things like that. So what we're looking for, we're looking for staff that are compassionate, well organised. You need to have a really positive outlook. you need to be able to work just as well independently and as well as a team as well. Obviously, above all, we need you to care, and we need you to want to make that difference to a person's life. So whether you've got 30 years formal care experience, or you've got no formal care experience at all, but you know it's something that you want to get into, that's absolutely something that we can support you with. As Julie said, we are, you can stay online for interviews, ask questions. Our advert for day and night support workers is still out on the Derby City Council website at the moment, and it is for another, it's till the 30th of April. So even if you didn't want to apply today, or you wanted to think about it a bit more, by all means go online and apply in the usual way. And as much as I can tell you about, how great Home First is, I'm just going to hand you over to my colleague, Lesley, who's a support worker, and she's just going to tell you about the role that she has. I'll just hand over to you, Lesley.
Not me. Hold on. Hello.
Hello.
Lesley?
Hello.
Lesley, are you there under Emma Quinn?
I'm
No,
under
Emma.
Haverland.
Oh, right. Okie doke. Lovely. Well, we can hear you if you're
You can
ready
hear
to
me now,
go.
yeah. My name's Lesley Mitchell. I've been in and out of care all my working life since leaving school. I also used to help voluntary at Arboretum House because my mum used to work there. I joined Derby City Council last June, so I've been here 10 months now. And I absolutely love the job. I've always liked being in care. But when I've been in care before, it's been with people that you see every day, every week, every month. And I get quite attached to people. So when I heard about this job where it's 4 on, 4 off, and you only get to see the customer maximum 8 days because you work 4 on, 4 off. So, and I absolutely love my job. It's the only job that I've actually looked forward to coming, getting out of bed and looking forward to coming to work, not feeling sick about going to work. I've done all kinds of work. I've worked in an office, I've worked in factories, worked Monday to Friday. That's everybody's ideal job, Monday to Friday, but this is my job, and I feel like I've done a good day's work when I'm caring for people. I've worked in offices where I've been on better pay than what I am now, but this is a very rewarding job.
I think that's fantastic, Lesley. Thank you for that feedback.
No problem.
I suppose, is there anything else you want to say? Otherwise, I'll just sort of finish. Is there anything else you want to say, Lesley, at all?
No, I don't think so. I think I've said it all. It's a good company to work for.
It's very good. It's very good to hear you share that. That's great. So I think just to sort of finish off for the City Council. I mean, both for myself and Emma and Lesley. I think it's just to say, we really would. It would be really great for anybody to, if anybody's got is interested in joining us, just sort of
Definitely, yeah.
And sort of come and ask us questions. We're very open to that. We, we'd love to hear from you, and hope you enjoyed what we've had to say. And if there are any further questions, we're very happy, follow those up. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That was really, really interesting. Just for the group, the attendees that are attending, please, if you want to go on to be interviewed by any of the roles that have been talked about in Derby City, please either put your email in the chat. If you don't want to do that, then you can email on dhcft.joinedupcareers, which I'll put in the chat, and we can arrange for an interview this afternoon. We're just going to move on now, if everyone's ready, to Derbyshire County Council, and this will be Catherine Cutt, Service Manager. Are you ready, Catherine?
I am. In fact, I remember to take my mute off. Should have t-shirts with that printed, shouldn't we, at the moment? Hi everybody, thanks for attending today. Particularly, I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's absolutely glorious here in Glossop. I hope you're going to find it useful. I'm sure, as Julie said, the most valuable part will perhaps be when my colleague Lyndsey talks to you about her experiences of actually working for Derbyshire County Council. But just before I hand over to Lyndsey, I wanted to give you a little bit of background about how I came to DCC and some of the opportunities that we can offer for you. So I'm Catherine and I'm one of the direct care service managers. My responsibility is for home care, 2 extra care sites and a dual site day service, which is a joint Derbyshire County Council and Derbyshire Community Health Services initiative. And I'm based up here in the beautiful High Peak. As many people are doing currently through or because of COVID, some 14 years ago, after working in admin since leaving school, I took a leap of faith and retrained as a midwife. During the training and working across a diverse community in central Manchester, I developed an interest in women's health and particularly the effects of domestic violence and abuse. After 5 years or so of midwifery, I saw an opportunity for a 12-month part-time post working on a joint health and social care project, working with a specialist domestic abuse charity to train GP surgeries across Manchester to identify victims of domestic abuse and provide a specialist service to them. 6 years later, I left them with a team of 13 with all the GP practices trained and a specialist DVA service available, plus a specialist service within 2 of the maternity units. And I saw this as a sort of shining example, which Susan alluded to earlier about the importance of working with our colleagues in health and social care. So when I was considering my next challenge, I saw the role I'm in currently, which gave me the opportunity to work in adult care, supporting some of the most vulnerable people in our communities. But I'm equally committed to building those links between health and social care to improve the quality of life for the people across the High Peak. Anyway, enough about me. Gabby, could you just move the slide on, please? So there are a number of areas you may choose to work in care within Derbyshire County Council. Home care is where we help people to stay at home or facilitate timely hospital discharges. And we work with individuals on a one-to-one basis to regain or retain some of their independence. We also have opportunities in extra care facilities, which are similar to home care, where individuals live in their own flats, but they're all based within the same building. The residents have access to communal areas and restaurants, and the care workers are on site 24/7. And it may be that the residents have a set package of care, or those not in need of care at that time have a pendant alarm that the care team would respond to on an ad hoc basis. Day services, opportunities in day services provide stimulation activities and company for individuals and an opportunity for some much needed respite for family carers. We also have opportunities in learning disability services, and this offers generally based either in supporting living complexes or via a day service provision. Alternatively, you may choose to work in one of our homes for older people or one of the state-of-the-art specialist dementia units that we have. Not only the number of services, there are also a number of opportunities within those services. These include the frontline care and support roles that are probably fairly familiar to people, but also include some other opportunities which may not be particularly associated with working within adult care, such as catering opportunities, domestics, laundry, or working within our business services that offer administrative support. Wherever you choose, you'll be joining established teams who deliver one of the biggest county council in-house provisions in the country. We have approximately 850 care worker community, over 800 care workers, almost 150 people working in our domestic services, over 130 catering assistants, and almost 40 laundry workers. If you could move on, Gabby, please. So not only would you be joining established and experienced teams, you'll undertake a suite of essential training, which will provide you, if you choose to follow a care role, will provide you with your care certificate, plus a range of additional associated training, all of which are free of charge. Again, all uniform and necessary equipment to carry out your roles provided, including mobile phones for community and extra care workers, for safety and to access the scheduling software and access to emails. Move on, Gabby, please. We value a healthy and happy workforce, so also have a robust health and wellbeing offer. Often access to programmes such as our counselling and physiotherapy are much quicker than should you need to access them via a referral from your GP. The Live Life Better Derbyshire also provides a self-referral to access programmes to achieve a healthier lifestyle for you and for your families. Next slide, please, Gabby. There's also good annual leave entitlement, again with an additional week after 5 years service. We offer enhanced rates of pay for any work undertaken between 7 PM and 7 AM. Under normal COVID non-restrictions, there would always be opportunity to pick up additional shifts, either in your own role or in a role in another area. At the moment, we can't do that because we are restricted to only one care role. But once the restrictions are lifted, for example, you could have a substantive post in home care and a relief position in one of the homes for older people. We offer a good pension scheme, and we talk about relief roles. So if you don't want to commit to regular hours or shift patterns, you can apply for relief contracts where you can choose when and how long you work for. Next slide, please, Gabby. We want to encourage those of you who wish to progress to do so, and we can support this through accessing apprenticeships from entry level right through to a level 7 qualification. And we also do some grow your own schemes in-house. Next slide, Gabby. We also offer competitive rates of pay, and as stated on a previous slide, we do pay mileage allowance, and you will get paid for travel time between visits if you're working in a home care position. Final slide, please. So I hope you found it useful and can see that there are a number of opportunities within DCC adult care. If you've got any questions, please, raise your hand or put it in the chat. If you want to apply or find out what roles are available in your area, please do join us for the further session today at 1 o'clock, or go to the DCC website and search for jobs. But now I'm going to hand over to our colleague Lyndsey, who will give you a much more interesting, I'm sure, approach as to what it's like working for Derbyshire County Council.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Oh, brilliant. Hi, I'm Lyndsey and I'm a senior care worker at the Grange. Well, initially it was never a job I ever thought of doing care, and I was going in the police force. But whilst I was doing some training at college for it, I started working a private care home and I begun to really like it. So I applied for DCC in 2006 and went on to be a home help. I had 2 children during that period with the home help, so the hours suited me absolutely brilliantly. My managers knew that I wanted to progress, so she often arranged at times for shadowing community care workers and social workers and DSOs to gain some knowledge on management experience. And then I applied for the Grange 3 years ago, and was successful. The current manager is brilliant with me, and as I'm just awaiting to start my MVQ level 3 and hopefully progress further in my career. I absolutely love my job. I won't ever leave DCC. I love working for Derbyshire County Council. It's a very rewarding job, caring for people and supporting them and helping them be as independent as they possibly can. We often set up days here at the Grange, fun days. In fact, I'm currently in the middle of one now for May Day, where we can build memories with them and make them feel comfortable. And we have such a good relationship with the residents' families. It's really lovely. We've also got community support bedside, which is rehabilitation. So people that have been admitted to hospital but then need some support getting back to being independent, which is also another really positive prospect, because they come to us requiring quite a lot of assistance and help and rehabilitation, and then to see them being discharged and leaving home and have turned around, it's absolutely wonderful. It's really rewarding. And obviously currently with the COVID the past year, it's been really difficult for the residents because they've had video calls and such with the families, but obviously they've really missed them. So it's brought us all a lot closer as a team, and a lot of our residents class us all as one big happy little family. So it is really, really rewarding. And obviously, like I say, you can progress, and management have always been very, very supportive of me. When I've wanted to do things have been arranged for me to shadow and learn different skills. I think that's it.
Thank you. That sounds absolutely amazing. I think you've given a really, really good insight into what your job is and really what you're getting out of it, and truly inspirational for anybody that hasn't worked in care before that's wanting to. So thank you so much for that.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are running quite fast, really, and I think the next thing we're going to do is probably take a little bit of a comfort break, and during the comfort break, probably a longer extended one, so we'll probably have about 15 minutes now, and what Gabby is going to do is play some videos that are from the Derbyshire County Council website that will give you some more information on what it's like to work within work for Derbyshire County Council, or particularly in health and social care. So Gabby, could you put those up for us please now, and we'll return back at 11:25. If while you're watching the videos and having your break, you want to put some questions up, we'll be returning to questions and answers. So if you could type your questions in and who it's directed to, that would be really, really useful. And then we can direct those questions through to the appropriate person. It is important to say at this point as well that if you do want to interview or enter the group session, you will need to be given a link to enter those sessions. So we do need your contact details, and you can either put those in the chat or you can email those to dhcft. I've put the email address into the chat box already. And but that it is important that if you do want an interview or you do want to enter the group, that you email us on that address so that we can get you an appointment in there. So thank you very much. Do you want to put the videos up now, Gabby?
My name's Adele Fernioff. I work at the Lees, based in Ashbourne, Derbyshire. I'm lead coordinator and carer. I started care when I was about 18. I'm now 44, so I've been in it a long time. My mum used to work in a hospital near where we lived, and she absolutely loved it, and ever since I left school, that's what I did. We entered a gardening competition. When we started the garden, it was a bomb site, if you don't mind me saying so. But we finished it, we turned it into a sensory garden, veggie patch, and we come second, third and fourth. And going to County Hall with the residents to fetch them discs was amazing. I see all of the service users and the residents every day. So each day I can be doing a different thing with a different person. It's not, the same grouping all the time. If they're in their bedrooms and they don't want to come out, I take my stuff into them. And I've potted plants in people's bedrooms before. And they've loved it. So it's just what they like to do. I find out what they enjoy doing. We've got one particular man who likes horse racing. I've never put a bet in my life, but we've done it in his room. It does take a certain person. If you care, you care. If you don't, you don't. And that is what it comes down to, really. If you're calm and collective, you'll be able to do it. I'd recommend it.
Or just helping somebody start their day in a positive.
So with that, I think it's appropriate right now that I take a few moments to introduce our first keynote speaker.
My name's Diane.
Professor.
I work for Derbyshire County Council. I've worked there for nearly 17 years. I'm a community worker. I used to be a nursery nurse and I worked on that for about 20 years. And I decided I needed a change in career, and I just thought that I'd like to give it a go. I think it's a big achievement every day when you do this job, because there's always something that you've achieved, even if it's just making somebody smile or just helping somebody start their day in a positive way. The benefits for working for Derbyshire County Council are you get good support from your managers, there's good training, you don't feel as if you're going into somewhere blind, you're usually well informed before you go in there. It's knowing that you've made a difference to somebody's life, that you've made someone smile, that you've helped them achieve the things that they can't do by themselves. I would say that it's a lovely place to work. You're well supported. You can choose the hours that you want to do to a certain extent. And if you feel the job is for you, then give it a try.
I'm Craig. I've been a carer for nearly 7 years. I work in the community and I also work in Meadowview, which is a dementia centre. I think it must come from my mum, mainly. She was a nursing carer for nearly 30 years. A lot of my family members are carers, and I've had people, ex-colleagues that have also, pushed me to say, go for it, I think you'll do a good job. So I've tried it and not looked back since. The support from my colleagues is massive, and you do get support from management, but it's a different kind of support from your colleagues. And the benefits with the council are the pension schemes are very good, which is worth paying into. And the working environment can vary from being in the community to actually being in an establishment. Out in the community, like I say, you just do not know what you're going to come up against. So you've got to be well adapted to face anything that you may have come across. But as a whole, they're brilliant to work for. You do the job because you want to do it, and there's nothing that sticks out as memorable, so to speak, because it's all memorable. You learn from everything. Every day's memorable. Just helping people, making sure that they're okay, making people feel better about themselves, and helping family members if they're struggling with a certain family member that they feel bad that they can't help them, but just reassuring them that it's all okay. I would say that they've got to make sure that they want to do the job, because it's a job that no matter how much training you do or how well you get paid, you're not there for that. You're there to care for someone, and you've got to want to do it to make it worthwhile.
It's nice to be able to do something for somebody looking at them, and you give them something to smile at, you know, seeing them happy what you've done just makes me happy with myself. So I am at the moment as a senior care worker, but I just want to progress as well, so that's the opportunities in there for me. So I'm getting the training and the learning, so I will be able to achieve what I want to achieve. Yeah, I get support from the manager, from staff, from deputy manager, from everybody. Where I go, I need support. They are there for me. In the care sector, you have to have that commitment and be able to a caring person.
Hello, my name is Jolanta, and I work in very close home for 2.5 years now, and I really enjoy working here. The managers are ever so supportive, and they do everything to keep our residents happy, and so do we as well, our carers. And during the difficult times, lockdown and pandemic, we have been provided with full PPE to wear and use, and we're trying to do our best to look after residents to make sure they're safe. And also I've been doing their hair to make them happy.
I'm assuming everybody's back after the comfort break now. Is there anybody we're particularly waiting for? Shall we move on to the questions and answers section now? Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So I've looked down the chat box, and the only question really is healthcare assistant roles for hospitals, which unfortunately the NHS don't take on healthcare assistants without experience. So unlike the local authorities who we have here today are willing to train and support you in getting that experience, it's unlikely that you'd be chosen for an healthcare assistant role within a hospital environment. There are other traineeships that you can join if that's what you want, but this virtual recruitment day is specifically for the local authorities. If you want to type the questions in, I'm happy to read them out and refer them to the appropriate person. I can't see any. Has anybody else can see any questions that I'm missing? If there isn't any questions that you want to put in the chat or you want to ask today, but you are wanting to go on to the interview session for Derbyshire County Council at 1:30 or to be interviewed this afternoon by Derby City Council, please make sure you have emailed your contact details to DCHS.
Hazel, Gabby already sent me the links for the interviews. Yeah.
And you've already booked in, so
Yeah.
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
no
I just
problem.
wanted
You're
to
already booked in. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah.
Okay.
What advice would you give to somebody who hasn't worked in care before? Is that directed to?
To either really, or Hazel with your background in care. I just think from my personal experience, I've never worked in care before, and the idea of maybe going into care is a bit kind of intimidating, but as you know, as much as it's such a rewarding career. So is there any kind of tips or advice that you would give to someone who's maybe in a similar situation to me, who's not worked in the sector before?
Well, I think just following on what the other support workers have said, then you know, it's not something that you envisage you're going to do, and then there may be something that's happened in your life. It may be life experience or that has made you feel that actually this is going to be a really rewarding job for me. So I think in the first instance, you have to be the right type of person. So you have to have the right skills. You have to, in a sense, that you have to be caring and compassionate. You have to have an understanding that you are going to be making a difference to someone's life, and if that's what you're going to find rewarding, then ultimately anything else can be learned. And I think you know, really, if you haven't, is think about what the job enrolls. Don't think about you know, you're not going to earn a massive amount of money, you're not going to be suddenly become rich, but you are going to have a very self-rewarding career. So I think and there is prospects of moving on and moving up, so it's the start of a career that can change for you. So yeah, my immediate advice is it the job for you, or you're the type of person that's really going to enjoy it? And if you are, then you need to apply.
Thanks, Hazel. Would you say then as well that personal experience with kind of say if you've had kids or if you've got elderly parents, would that kind of support an application as well?
I think it does. Yes, it does. If you've had experience caring for an elderly parent, or you've had experience caring for a younger relative, if you have an understanding of what people's needs are and how to meet those needs, then it does really, really help. You know, you've got an insight into what's needed by not just your family, but by other people. Would any of the other managers like to chip in on that?
Shall I speak?
Yes, please do.
In Home First, because our roles aren't traditional care roles, we feel it's really important that people do bring that range of experience, and we've sort of in the past sort of year or so, we've tried always to perhaps attract people to a new thing who hadn't formerly thought of care, and we actually don't have those sort of formal requirements. It's just about sort of life experience, and the training is there on offer. I think it's just about understanding that being in a sort of a care position, you know, that sort of being on a, it's understanding sort of being out on your own is quite difficult sometimes, and you know, it's not everybody has the aptitude to do it. So it's important to understand the demands of the role as well as the rewards of it. But you know that the training can support with that. Emma, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, actually, we our service is expanding all of the time, and so we always need more staff to come and join us. And like I said earlier, it doesn't matter whether you have a wealth of formal care experience, community setting, or maybe in a care home, perhaps. Actually, if you've maybe, like for instance, looked after an elderly relative, even if they're not elderly, you know, any kind of care experience. We've had people that have worked in a petrol station that looked after their elderly granddad. Actually, they got really fond of a lady that came in as a customer, and she had dementia and quite high needs, and actually that really prompted him to think, you know, actually I'd really like to go into a field where I could look after somebody like that. Last year we took on a yoga teacher, a hairdresser, and actually it's just carrying on from what Julie said, it's about, you know, yes, it's about demands and rewards. You've got to know what you're getting into, and it isn't for everybody. It is definitely a vocation. It's not all about, you see the slides and you see the TV adverts and sitting with an elderly person in a lovely clean home and holding the hand and having a cup of tea and a lovely chat. Sometimes, you know, the jobs that you've got to do and how you have to help someone and giving somebody that personal care, it is personal. Not everyone can do it, but when you see somebody being wheeled in by paramedics to Perth House looking really poorly, and 10 days later they're walking out fully dressed, looking really well, thanking everybody and walking out by themselves, that is by far and away the most rewarding job I think you could possibly have. So yeah, as I say, a wealth of experience or none, and you know, sometimes it's not always for everyone, but you know, we provide such good support, really good training, and you know, ways to work your way up if that's really what you want to do. You know, we'll support you every step of the way. So yeah, you know, coming into care, extremely rewarding. You know, you have to be dedicated, but you get a lot out of it, most definitely. I'll hand you back, Hazel.
Hazel, I've just seen it.
Actually, there's a question for you. Can you tell a little bit about a typical day as a carer and what it might look like, Emma?
Sorry, say that again, Hazel.
We've got a question for you, and
Okay.
it says, can you tell us a little bit about a typical day as a carer and what it might look like?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, say for instance, you're working in the community, you're on an early shift. You probably would have had a look at your rota the night before to see perhaps, you know, where you're going to be going. Are you working with somebody else? Are you working alone? Typically, your first call would be about 7:15 in the morning. And because of the information we give you on your phone, you know a little bit about that person even before you go into the person's house. It might be that You know, you need to knock on the door, use the key safe, you know, say hello to the cat on the way in. It might be that you're getting that person out of bed, or maybe they're already up and about. You'd read their care plan. What does that person need? Why are they with us? Why are they on our service? And you'd have a look at what they can do themselves and what the customer needs help with, you know, and we're all about independence and enablement and allowing that customer to do what they can for themselves. So we help them with whatever tasks they need. It might be personal care, meals, medication, might be all of those. And we write really good logs, and we need that because what is written down by the care staff forms a basis as to what happens to that customer when they leave our service. So it's really important to know and be accurate. What have you helped that customer with? And what has the customer been able to do themselves? And you'll have a rough idea of kind of how long you'll need to spend with that customer. Sometimes it's more, sometimes less. And then you finish up, secure the property, go on to your next customer. So typically I'd say you may have 5 or 6 morning calls, you have a break, everybody gets a break in a shift, and then you carry on, and then you go out to your lunch calls. Again, see what they can do themselves. There's probably a little bit less personal care to do at lunchtime and more meal preparation perhaps. It might be that, you know, you're really keeping an eye on that customer. They might not see anyone else. You go in on your day 1, you know, but by day 2, maybe they're not as chatty, or, you know, that they look a little bit off colour. You know, it's about knowing what those signs are. And to escalate any queries. You might need to ask for the help of a physio or a nurse, or, you know, a district nurse, an OT. You know, there might be advice about, you know, queries about medication. Obviously, you keep track of your mileage. We write down what the customer needs to do, but it's really important to give that feedback. MDTs are held, the multidisciplinary team meetings are held several times a week to talk about all of our community customers. Why are they with us? Where are they? What's the plan? Where are they in terms of their discharge? So we really rely on the support workers to provide that up-to-date, accurate information, to make sure that wherever that customer's going to next, they're going on with the right services for them. It's busy, it's variable. You might look at your programme at night and then see in the morning that it's changed. You know, we might have had to move customers around depending on where they live. The customer might have gone to hospital, or they're looked up by family. So we're a very responsive service. And we can go out very quickly. So you might have 1 or 2 new customers on your programme that perhaps you didn't have the previous day. So it's not about the same regular customers, the same routine. It's very variable and really rewarding. So it is a busy service, but I know that the staff that we have working in the community absolutely love being out there. Yes, they're out, they're being independent, they're managing their own time, but they've always got that backup. You know, we have admission and discharge coordinators and seniors that can kind of escalate queries to, or asking questions. So even though you might be out there, you're never on your own at all. So yeah, busy, but really rewarding.
Thank you, Emma. That was really interesting. We've got the same question really for Lyndsey. Lyndsey, could you tell us about a typical day in Derbyshire County Council?
Sorry, I'm here.
Are you there?
I can. So they're very busy. Obviously, it's always busy. We provide, obviously, different levels of care for different people depending on the needs. As a senior, I've got more responsibilities due to running a shift and allocating staff to where they need to work. You know, regular chasing GPs up, prescriptions and administering medication on a daily basis. Reporting back to management if there's any issues. So care staff obviously are providing personal care for the residents. Also, there's a big social side to it as well, because we've got to ultimately provide that side to it as well, a service where they're not routinely just getting up, getting dressed, meals, and it's set routine. We try to provide different things. So, for instance, on Bank Holiday Monday being May Day coming up, we're currently arranging a big outdoor party, weather permitting, for them, where I've even managed to source a maypole, believe it or not, where probably the residents won't particularly want to dance around it, but the staff will, and that will just make all the residents happy. And it's just day-to-day things like that, and no 2 days are ever the same, never. It's a lovely feeling to want to come to work, and that's what all of us. We've got a brilliant care team and we've got brilliant management here at the Grange, and everybody works so well together. And if there's any problems, they come to me, and then if I can't solve it, then I'll go to management. It's hard to describe because it's so different, but they are busy. I get here at 7:15 in the morning and care staff come on at 7, and we do as handovers. I allocate the staff to which wing they're working, and then we ultimately, obviously, residents get up as and when they're ready. They buzz for care staff to when they want assistance. As they get up, I do the medications, they have the breakfast, and then we do some form of activities in the morning, and then it's a mid-morning drink and cakes and biscuits, whatever they want. Then lunchtime comes, and then we plan on doing something after lunch, just depending on how busy the day actually is, because sometimes you can blink and it's past dinner time before you've even realised. But obviously we've got the community support bedside as well, where we're trying to rehab people. So there is two totally different sides to it. We've got as long-term that everybody's very much used to, but you've got the rehab side that's a really quick turnaround. So everybody's trying to keep them involved as much as the long-term. But then afternoons, we do get a lot more time between starting shift and tea time, where we can do a lot more activities with them all. There's a bit more of a break because there's only that one meal in an afternoon and then supper later on. But it's a really rewarding job.
Oh, well, thank you for that. That's really interesting, Lyndsey, and
no problem.
I remember it very well.
Yeah.
So, is there any more questions anybody would like to ask?
There's one in the chat, Hazel, from Sophie, asking if there's any positions available with younger people.
Oh, right, okay. Can I direct that to the senior managers, Julie or Catherine?
The jobs we have in Home First are specific to that. They're for adults, so they're nothing specific. They're not age specific, but we just receive anybody who needs our support who's been discharged from hospital. So they're not specific to age groups. We don't run internally the longer term services in the way that Derbyshire do. They're all with those jobs will be there, but they're not directly provided by the City Council.
Thank you, Julie.
I was just going to say exactly the same, that it's based on the needs of the individual, not restricted by age. So we do get some young people in the service, but it depends on their individual needs.
Thank you for that, Catherine. Does that answer your questions? Is that everyone? So well, thank you everyone that's contributed today. It's been really interesting, and I think it's been given everyone a great insight to what it's like to work in Derbyshire County Council and Derby City Council. We can close the webinar now, but please make sure that you have booked in through the email address your interviews for this afternoon or the group sessions with Derbyshire County Council. And again, just thank you everyone for attending today, and I hope you've got as much information as you needed. And just thank you. We'll close now.
Thank you for having us.